Hello and welcome to Retro Vehicles and Machinery. My name's Richard, and this week I have rescued this little survivor of an original Mark 1 Ford Fiesta. She's a 1980 model. It's an early car because it has the chrome bumpers, and we're going to be having a look at getting it up and running and getting it on the road again. So I did some work on this car in 2021 and did some brakes and got it running, and the chap had it back, but unfortunately it's just been sitting ever since he's had it back. He's not really used it or done anything with it really, which has been a shame. So I've bought it and gonna try and sort of turn it around and make it good again. So here she is, she's unloaded off the Transit. Nice original looking Mark 1 1100L Fiesta. She has done a total of 52,739 miles from new. I've got some paperwork with the car. I've got the original envelope from Perry's, where it came from. The dealer sticker's just there but fading away, with all the opening supplement manuals, the operator's guide, the audio guide, which is just quite rare nowadays for a vehicle to still come with all that. The only thing that's missing, I have an original logbook from 1982, but the one thing that's missing is the original bill of sale. That's not there, but that doesn't matter too much. She's in Cordoba beige, very 80s colour, 70s 80s colour. We're going to look at getting her up and running. As I say, 2021 I got it running and got it all MOT'd, and it was all done. I did the brakes, put a new master cylinder on it. I went through the car throughout. It was very solid underneath, and it's just sat basically since then. She has just sat. Could do with a tailgate, as the tailgate is quite rotten, but the rest of the panel work, other than a few dents here and there from being in storage, is very straight. From the looks of it, I put 4 new tyres on it as well, but from the looks of it, that inner wing wants the weld around it, so I'll strip that back and weld a little plate in there. But yeah, she's not bad. Original interior, the doors still open and close spot on. Is different, to say the least. She's a cool little classic. As I say, as an entry into classic car ownership, this little car's mega. She's tax and MOT exempt. And when was the last time you saw one? Especially a Bogo standard model. I can understand the XR2s and Super Sports and things. They're the ones, the popular sporty model ones, and the S's. But just a Bogo 1100L, it's mega. I love it. So I've got some tools on the bed of the Transit here. I've got a multimeter, a screwdriver, a bit of emery tape and a battery. So hopefully with just this kit here we can get the little car running again. That's my plan anyway. Bear in mind, she might start up all on her own, just with a battery in it, because the battery had died, so the chap took it off. But it hasn't run in a while. Right, so that's a battery on. Do we have ignition lights? We have a battery light, no oil pressure light. Just check if the little senders come unplugged. Can't remember where it is on a crossflow. It might be down the back there yet. And she is plugged in. No, so maybe the bulb was gone. And she cranks over well. So that's good. She's not seized up. I have dipped the oil. It's still yellow and clean from when I did it in 2021. As I say, I went through it, changed all the fluids and did everything on it to get it up and running again, and unfortunately the poor little thing has just sat. So let's check if we've got voltage at the coil on the ignition side of things. I have a little test meter here. Simple points ignition system on this still. Nothing particularly fancy about it. Points and condenser. I'm pretty sure I did points, condenser, rotary arm and cap when it was last in. Okay, so ignition on. We haven't got power to the coil. So that could... Oh, did we have power to the coil or not? Ah, we do have power to the coil. There we go, got 12 volts at the coil. So that's okay. Let's have a look, see if we've got a spark at the points. I'll have to just pop the distributor cap off. There she goes. So yes, we have a brand new cap, brand new leads. I did put a new carburetor on it as well because the original Motorcraft one was a dud. So there's the distributor with the rotary arm. We'll pop that off. So we'll see what our points. Oh, the points have still got a gap there. What I'll do is just run some emery tape just in between the points there, just to clean them up a little bit. So I've just given the points a little sand. Just wipe them off with a bit of rag. I'm just going to see if we can get a screwdriver and just flick them open to see if there's a spark there. So for this you need a longish screwdriver. Put the ignition on. And then if you can get to the points, that is, sometimes they're not the easiest. So you can see that. Cool, so we have a spark at the points now. I reckon we're not going to be too far away from her bursting into life. Famous last words. Turn the ignition off. Pop the little rotary arm back in there. He's in, and then pop the cap back onto the cap. Bosch cap has this little tab here that locates down on the distributor where it goes in on the side there by the clamp. So that can go in. Always fine with these ones where the distributor's under the inlet manifold. You do the back clip first. That's the most difficult one to hook on. There we go. A little bit tricky. There we go. So that's the distributor back on. We'll see what she does now with a bit of choke. Of course, I don't know if there's any fuel in it. It might have all gone. Positive sign. She is like clockwork. Bit of choke. So we have a runner again. She's charging. That'll warm through for a little bit. Oh, I've got a feeling the fuel's stale. I mean, it will be, it's 3 years old. Let that warm through for a minute. What a little peach. So just having a look, it runs for a bit and then cuts out. So I fished through some of my stock and I have a brand new condenser. Don't have a set of points for it, but the points, they look a little bit burnt, but not overly bad at all. They should go a bit longer. So I'll look at changing the condenser. It basically runs for a bit and then the spark dies on it. I've replaced this bit of fuel pipe as well because it had a little leak as she come back to life. But we'll change this condenser over and see if it will start and run then. I've swapped the coil over for a good one that came off the Cortina, so that's ruled that one out. Oh, that condenser is cooking. Very, very hot. I'd imagine it's burned out. That's what my problem is. So I run the car up for 5 minutes or so and you drive it a bit and it just cuts. So, and it's definitely a spark issue that it's losing. So there's the condenser off. It does in fact look the same as a Pinto one, but that is red hot. You can barely touch it. So I will change that and see if we got one. So I do in fact, in all my stock of condensers, have a brand spanking new one. I did just put that one under the thermometer, the infrared one, and it was 35 degrees. It's getting a bit warm. Right, new condenser in, plug him into the points. The points wire, it looks alright, he doesn't look bad. Plug him in. It's a nice tight fit on there too, which is what you want. Don't forget this bit. Distributor cap. He goes up to the coil now, so I need to put just a female end on that. So for testing purposes, I have just taken the old plug off the condenser to use, so we can just plug the new one in. If this sorts it, I obviously will wire it up a little better than that. I'll solder it up, which would be a good job. Okay. What's happening? That spark was disappearing at low revs. Spark just disappears. That does. Just swap the coil over quickly just in case that is breaking down, but it was doing the same on this coil, and this was a good coil. This other one I've got here. I just turned it off then, so I'll get some new ignition components, replace them and see how it goes then. So I've ran the little Fiesta up a few times now up to temperature, given it a few road tests even down the road. And it gets to a point where it gets up to temperature and then starts running badly with a misfire. And I've come to the conclusion it's head gasket, as it is pressurising the coolant pipes and cooling system. So I presume it's chucking water in one of the cylinders. So I've got some bits on order for it. I've got a headset, head bolts, thermostat and a water pump. And I'm going to have a look at taking the head off and get the head over to the machine shop to be planed down and put on the surfacer, so that can be refaced. So yeah, we'll have a look at taking this off, get the manifolds off. Pretty easy on these old Kent engines to pull apart, luckily. So we'll have a look. That's the exhaust manifold off. Move on to undoing the inlet next. I believe is all of the inlet bolts out. The inlet manifold can just sit there. Have a look at getting these head bolts undone. Couldn't really pick a simpler engine to pull apart. Little pushrod engine. There's not any timing belt or anything like that to worry about. So I must admit it's all coming undone with the 3/8 ratchet at the moment. Hit the rocker assembly off before we're much older. I like to try and undo the rocker shaft bit by bit so it comes up as one, rather than just loosening one end off and letting it come up on a skew. Yeah, that's the rocker assembly off. Ooh, one push rod. There we go. I'll retrieve the push rods. Just laying them out in the order in which they come out. They can go back in that way. So I haven't used any power tools to pull this one apart, just as I'm working over in the lean-to today. There she goes. That's the last one undone. So all the head bolts are undone. Everything's stripped off it. Just got to watch that one little exhaust stud that stayed in. Under the block here. There we go, she's going. She's going. She's broken free. 44 years. I presume anyway, being stuck on there. She is off. But yeah, we'll have a look at the head next. So looking at the cylinder head, I would say it was number 1 that was getting coolant in it because it's all wet in there, whereas 2, 3 and 4 are pretty dry. Have a look at scraping this old gasket off. And then go from there, I suppose. So I have my Fiesta head back from the machine shop. He has pressure tested it and it's tested up fine, and he has resurfaced the head. Basically it was warped, so it obviously has got hot in the past, so that's got a fresh face on it. I have yet to clean the top of the block, but that'll clean up fine, I think. I'm going to put the head on these cylinder head stands here, and we're going to pop the valves out of it and change over the stem seals and just put everything with the valves through the wire wheel so it can go back together nice and fresh. So looking at the head, I've got it up on the stands now. You can see this black part of the stem seals actually come off on most, well, every exhaust valve it's come off on. So that one, that one, that one and that one. So that's not good, but we've got a new set of those, so we'll swap those over when the valves are out. So that is all of my valves removed from the head. As you saw, all the stem seals came up, the exhaust ones anyway, apart from this one, which is just toast. Yeah, they've had it. So we'll put some new stem seals, but the inlet ones are rock hard and all split, and they're genuine Ford ones. So I'd imagine this is the first time this head's coming apart. Doesn't look to me to have been apart before, so as it hasn't done any miles at all, I wouldn't be surprised if this is the first time it has been off. So it's not looking too sad now. I've laid out my valves in the order in which they came out of the cylinder head. I might put this through the parts washer quickly just to spruce it up a bit. It's a good old cast head. It's not too bad at all. It's in nice nick. The core plugs are good. Yeah, we'll have a look at cleaning the valve seats up next with the wire wheel in an air tool. So I've just got an air die grinder with a small wire wheel in it. I'm just going to go and clean all of the seats out in the cylinder head. So they are looking pretty good. Just gives them a fresh face. So it does have a sticker in the window on the Fiesta saying that it is converted to run on unleaded. So I'm presuming it's got hardened seats in it, which is great. Great news for me and great news for the car. Yeah, that's looking pretty good. So that's giving that a quick de-coke. I'll put it through the parts washer. Whilst I've got the die grinder tool out, I'll just give it a quick spin over the exhaust ports, just to make sure they're clean, and the inlet ports too. Cleaned up quite nicely, that one. So next I'm getting out the good old tub of grinding paste. So that's all my valves done, cleaned and nice, ready to go back in. I've got some grinding paste here, so I'm going to have a look at lapping the valves in, and hopefully she'll reassemble all right. So what you're looking for when you lap a valve in, after using the grinding paste, is a lovely grey stripe all the way around. So that means he's nicely seated in there and ground in. That's looking good. That's one done. Good. So that's all my valves lapped in now. So now it's just a case of giving them all a bit of a swill off and putting the new stem seals in, and then the valve springs. Right, so having cleaned my head off, cleaned all my valve springs and top hats and bits and pieces, I'm now ready to put the head back together. I will just give the valves a little swill off as they're going in. And I will need a little tub of grease. So I like to put a little bit of grease on the stem seals. A new pack of stem seals here. Make sure the stem seal is pushed firmly down. You can use a socket on the stem seal just to make sure he's pushed all the way home. That's the valves in. Look at putting the springs on next. First process to before. Put your spring on. With your top hat. Compress it using the tool. And then grab your little cotters. I've had them soaking in a little pot of brake cleaner just so I know they are nice and clean. These can be a bit fiddly to put back in, but if you take your time with it, they're not too bad. I like to get myself a little flat blade, a screwdriver. Just sort of tease them into the grooves. Always having a tool just to help put them in. One. Right, they are all in. Just like to finish off just to make sure they're all seated properly. Give them a little tap. They're pretty good at that. Right, we'll have a look at getting the engine ready and bolt it all back together.